I'm Chief Inspector Paul Joyce and I'm in charge of the Alliance Policing, which covers both firearms and the dog section for Cheshire and North Wales. There is no doubt, we've seen it with body-worn video to date, that embracing technology can keep us safer. I have no doubt in my mind that when a subject sees an officer wearing body-worn video, that may well have an impact on how that individual behaves, because they understand that anything they do is accurately captured and can be portrayed to the courts. As we know, things are always evolving on a day-to-day basis, and I think it's right that we harness some of these technologies now. Bluetooth triggering, I can see benefits in terms of the fact that if one officer turns the camera on, could turn other cameras on that are in the immediate vicinity. So if we can use technology to close those loops so that if one person turns them on, everybody's is activated. We need to ensure that we've got resilient battery life in our products. We start our recording from the point that we start briefing for a deployment, and that will stay on until the conclusion of that event. So battery life is really important for us.
Pitch on me.
And also the other features in terms of being able to blank screens out and flashing lights and such like whilst we're working in a tactical arena, so that we can work confidently knowing that those screens aren't going to fluoresce up, which could put the officers at risk.
Slowly walk towards me.
The criminals know no boundaries, so it's important that we don't allow the boundaries between two different police services to define our function and form, and therefore we feel it's important that our technologies can work seamlessly in both force areas so that we can maximise our potential in terms of detecting crime and obviously keeping the public and our officers safe. I think it's an exciting new area that we move into. We've massively moved on in terms of technology. We've been familiar with and used to having streaming sources from the likes of National Police Air Service for a number of years now, which can get relayed into our control rooms. But one of the areas that was lacking was the ability to have streaming from individual officers. Having the facility to have direct streaming into a control room of what the officer is seeing from their body-worn video will enable us to potentially reduce the number of updates that's required from officers at the scene, allowing them to concentrate on the task in hand. Likewise, for me as a firearms commander, it would enable me to assess continually the tactics that are required, how I can support the officers that are at the scene dealing with the event. Quite often, many of our events are attached to mental health issues, and quite often there are other experts that we need to employ in dealing with that event safely, such as negotiators and such like. I can see distinct benefits from having live streaming in terms of body-worn video, that a negotiator that isn't immediately available to the scene may well be able to access that footage and offer pertinent advice back to the officer in how to negotiate with that person until specialists arrive at scene.
You with me?
Certainly, in the firearms world, it's important that these devices are robust and can stand up to the rigours of the sort of tasks that the officers are expected to do on a day-to-day basis. It's also crucially important that the evidence is securely stored and can be relied upon so that we can be transparent in terms of the use of force that we use, and indeed to capture all the appropriate evidence. I think it's important that we use this body-worn video footage not also inside the organisation but sensitively outside of the organisation to show members of the public some of the issues that we face, to ensure that we have the buy-in from the public and the support from the public in terms of the activities that we do. So being able to blur out members of the public that are not involved in the incident is absolutely critical and crucial to ensure that we protect the privacy and such like of innocent passers-by that may be involved in an event. Many different units across the police service will have different needs of the body-worn video, and it's important that the device that we choose can be adapted and worn appropriate to the circumstances. We can be guaranteed when we take a piece of equipment out, we know how it's going to perform and it's not going to let us down. In normal work, the officers will wear it body-worn on their body armour or their load vest. However, when they're in their tactical role and they're addressing maybe a more significant threat where they have their firearms available to them and they're wearing their ballistic helmet, to be able to rapidly and effectively reposition the camera as we change the position with which it's worn is absolutely crucial to us. In terms of officers who may be tasked with carrying devices such as conventional firearms and other less lethal options, it's important that we can demonstrate a transparent process, that we are satisfied that any use of force that an officer uses is proportionate to the circumstances and is indeed justified. It has been quite clear to me with the body-worn video how we've been able to negate complaints against officers, thereby making them feel more reassured when they're attending events that they will be properly backed and supported in terms of the actions that they're required to take. Some distinct benefits for me around body-worn video are that accurate capturing of evidence at the scene, so that may be a witness actually delivering to us their description of an individual, which can be quickly reviewed and is there captured accurately. It may enable us to capture something on the periphery of an incident that officers weren't aware of at the time, so maybe another subject or another witness that they didn't get to speak to at the time. Clearly it reduces the amount of complaints, or indeed reduces the time frame which it takes to investigate a complaint, because we have that evidence to hand that can refute any allegations that may be made against the officers.
Cover on! Cover on!
I can safely say it has become normal everyday equipment, in just the same way that they take out their pocketbook, their handcuffs, they take the body-worn video out without a second thought. It has become second nature to them because of the reliability of the product.